great movie. I actually saw this video before without the words in it. It was a big viral. Did everybody? How many of you saw this viral ever before? See, that's good viral. Why did you choose it?
Yeah, I think for me it's about leadership, and I really like to read and watch and talk about leadership. But it's also about the movement, and I've been part of the growth story at Hives, which really was about this. So not only externally, because there were once 2 friends on the platform, and in the end the whole country was more or less friending themselves. But also internally. So if you talk about growing companies, I think the people working in the company also really became some sort of a group that really started with 3 founders at this time, and then 5 and 10 and 15, and in the end 150.
At what point at Hives did you step in?
I stepped in at number 15.
Number 15.
Yeah. So actually we're the 3 founders, and Mark knows them as well. Really came to a point that they said, well, it's getting too big.
But at that time, it was already like tipping, right? It was over the tipping point.
No, I think it was just starting. So there was mid 2007. So actually, Morel sitting on the front row, now working for Ace & Tate. So it's very small world. Was one of the first, I think, 5 or 10 people. Yeah. So she really also made it all possible. I think. And correct me if I'm wrong, I joined when there were 15 people. There was one guy tried to do salesy stuff. The rest was developers, and the 3 guys running the show and thinking about crazy things to deploy today or tomorrow. So that was the company.
If you translate this principle to like the online world, what kind of examples do you have of, or do you have any examples of like the first follower, and in what way is the first follower or the first followers so important?
Yeah, I think that the voiceover really made the point. I think that if you have the first follower and then number 3 and then the rest, you see how quickly it went from 3 to 10. And I think in these digital worlds, it's very easy to go from 3 to 10 to 1,000 to 1 million. So with the scale of the networks that we have, that's not that difficult. From 0 to 1 to 3, I think that's really difficult. And maintaining your momentum after you are live, I think that's the most crucial part. And we also really faced issues.
What's the most difficult part? Like,
I think the most difficult part is to stay relevant. Also, Mark mentioned it with the glass. If you're not relevant to your consumers, it's over. So we always were really realistic. Also, when we grew the company, there's no log-in to a network. So at a given time we had 6.5 billion page views in the Netherlands, and that if you are really into statistics in this small country, this is really it's really huge. And even at that time, we just said, well, tomorrow it can be different, because if some people decide not to do what they do today, you're gone.
So you're constantly trying to keep that momentum going.
And stay relevant. I think for now Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or our work, it's.
But that was one of the hardest parts, right? For like Hives to stay relevant once Facebook was there.
Yeah. Also, we were pretty honest to ourselves at that point, even in 2008, where we really thought what the future would bring to us, and we already knew at that time that we were not big enough and American enough to really make it to a global level, because at the same time when we were running Facebook, and at that time it was even Facebook or MySpace, they were just battling for world leadership. So the only thing we could do is make sure that we were the last man standing, which actually we were. So everywhere in Europe you saw local sites collapsing in 2008, 9 and 10. And there were informal groups where the CEOs of the locals were just, we got together every 6 months, and every 6 months there was one CEO less, because he was just, he's out of business. And we were more or less, we were with 2 or 3 local ones, the last standing. So that was our aim.
Do you think in hindsight you could have pivoted to something else?
We tried. I think one of the things we probably tried too much is to be all new sorts of stuff. So when Facebook really grew, and we really knew that there would come a time that we were not as powerful as we were at that time, we pivoted to a local news network. We had games, which really is still successful. So Hive's now transformed to a game site. We even piloted with the Rabobank to do social payments in 2008. It was just, I think it's a world.
It still has to grow.
Yeah, world enough to think that what we did. We did some dating stuff. We invented the Vriendenloterij, so the friend lottery. In fact, we invented that to be a lottery not based on zip codes, but based on sharing money not with your neighbors, but you want to be richer than your neighbors, but sharing money with your friends. So actually, we did a lot of
whatever happened
stuff.
to that?
That is pretty successful, but it's not. We invented the idea, and it's in the hands of the Postcode Loterij.
Okay.
So we invented with building a creative agency. So and you will see another movie later on. We more or less paved the way for social media advertising. So Facebook and Twitter is really should really thank the people and the advertisers at Hive for making all the mistakes that you make when you try to come on to a new platform. We were so big and good in social media advertising. In fact, Facebook was not selling to the Netherlands, and Twitter was not even considered in the country, that we even spun off that department, because when we knew that we would shrink, we had too many good people selling advertising. So we spun it off and made it a social media agency to sell also Facebook ads. So we did a lot of
pivots,
stuff.
But
one of the most successful I didn't even mention is, and they're still live, so I'm pretty proud on that. One is Upcoming. I'm not sure how many of you know Upcoming, the local BuzzFeed website. So it now lives into the TMG organization. Actually, I see Herman sitting here running the whole digital part of TMG. So he can tell how successful it is. And we spun off Bleep, which is a Dutch telecom provider for kids. Even without advertisers, you probably did not hear anything of it, or you should have small kids, but it's very innovative
is that all under the umbrella of TMG?
No, we sold that one to the founders.
Okay.
And those were Hive's people. Okay. But it was nurtured and grown in the 2 years within TMG. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go on to the next video, I have to ask: in the video, are you the dancer, the first follower, or are you one of the others from the crowd?
I think I probably am the first follower. So to be honest, I never started anything. So I really envy people like Mark and Camille, who are here to really come up with an idea and just start from scratch and take all the pain. So I do the easier part. So whenever a company or an idea is already there, and when it's still small, I come in and I help to grow it.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next video.